Good morning. If you're with us Sunday morning on whatever platform you're using, and if you're watching a recording of this service at any time or day, greetings. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalists of Transylvania County. I'm Susan Zelle, president of UUTC, and the worship coordinator this Sunday morning. Thank you for joining us today. I have a few highlights from the newsletter that I'd like to share with you. Please read your email copy of the newsletter for all the details. The Transylvania Health Department has announced a vaccination clinic this week for residents 65 years or older. It will be held on Tuesday, March 9th. As of this weekend, there were still appointments available. We hope all congregants will be vaccinated soon. Please consider helping a neighbor or friend in that age group if they have difficulty signing up in the past. And next week, we'll have a special service, which is being shared nationally by the Unitarian Universalist Association. Please plan on a longer than usual service. We expect, with all the special elements in the worship next week, that it will last 90 minutes instead of fitting within our usual 1-hour time frame. There are a number of events for children that are coming up and their parents and families. I'll just highlight a few of them. March 13th, the Pink Beds Loop hike with a picnic, the Easter egg hunt, and, on a date to be determined, a church yard sale. Thank you for joining us in this sacred place during these troubled times from the safety of your homes in a community consecrated by our presence and our commitment. We are a welcoming and inclusive congregation. We invite your participation and welcome you, whoever you are, without regard to your race, color, age, sex, gender orientation, politics, or abilities. We require no creed or particular religious belief, asking only that you bring your goodwill and an open heart. Our mission is to support individual spiritual journeys and to promote social, economic, and environmental justice. To any guests or newcomers we have watching with us today, thank you for taking a chance and taking the time to find us online and join us for worship. And to our members and friends, please use the chat to commune with each other, to reconnect as a UUTC family, and to express your appreciation. Our call to worship is "Do Not Leave Your Cares at the Door," performed by Terry and Daniel Sandoval. Please relax and let the music lead you into the spirit of worship.
Do not leave your cares at the door. Do not leave them there when you come into this place. Be open to forgiveness and transformation. Come on in, you are welcome here. And do not leave your cares at the door. Oh, bring your pain and sorrow and joy. There's a place for them upon the altar of life. Be open to forgiveness and transformation. Come on in, you are welcome here. And do not leave your cares at the door. This is a place of grace, a place of losing and finding our way upon the winding road, meeting and parting, stumbling and starting over. Every story is sacred here, even yours, even yours. So come on in and do not leave your cares at the door. Do not leave them there when you come into this place. Be open to forgiveness and transformation. Come on in, you are welcome here. Come in, and do not leave your cares at the door. Amen, amen, amen.
Our opening words are from Margaret Weiss, entitled, "The Church Has Left the Building." The church is not a place, it is a people. The church is not only a steeple above the tree-lined streets and cars. Rather, it is a people proclaiming to the world that we are here for the work of healing and of justice. The church is not walls built stone upon stone, held together by mortar, but rather person linked with person, linked with person, all ages and genders and abilities, a community built on the foundation of reason, love, and faith. The church is not just a set of doors open on Sunday morning, but the commitment day after day and moment after moment of our hearts creaking open the doors of welcome to the possibility of new experience and radical welcome. The church is not simply a building, a steeple, a pew. The church is the gathering together of all the people and experiences, and fear and love and hope in our resilient hearts. Gathering however we can to say to the world, welcome, come in, lay down your heartache and pick up hope and love. For the church is us, each and every one of us, together, a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs it. You Are Never Alone by Sharon Wiley. It is okay to be tired of change. It's okay to be tired of everything different. Okay to feel weary of resiliency and wholeness and learning and growth. And okay to yearn simply for rest. It's okay to be grouchy and unsatisfied, and all the ordinary human ways of being that we are. Let this morning be a reminder that you are loved. Let our time together soothe what is restless in you. May you be comforted in knowing that whatever you are feeling today and other days, you are not alone. You are never alone. Come, let us worship together. Please join us in our first hymn of the morning, number 6 if you have a hymnal, Just as Long as I Have Breath. The words will be on your screen.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Now comes the time in our service when we have the chance to share our joys and sorrows. We believe that joys are magnified, worries reduced, and grief eased by sharing them with this beloved community. I invite those who are watching this live to participate by typing any joys and sorrows that you would like to share. I won't see them, but will include a candle for them at the end for anything which may have been shared in the chat box on whatever streaming platform you may be using. Today I light a candle of gratitude for both those whom we see and those we may not see, but whose work makes our life easier and safer. Those on our front lines who provide health care, services, and education often do not have a choice. May this light bring comfort to those who serve. I light a candle of gratitude for those who work tirelessly to research and administer vaccines. I'm grateful for the hope we've been offered after the past year. May this light bring honor to those who work to protect us. I light a candle of gratitude for those who stand on the side of justice, speaking out and taking action to better the lives of those less fortunate. May this light bring courage to those who speak up. I light a candle for anything which may have been shared in the chat box on whatever streaming platform you may be using. And finally, I light a candle for any care or any hope that you're not yet ready to share. May this light, kindled by all our hearts, be a torch you can carry forward, knowing that we hold you in our hearts. Let us hold these lights and prayers in our hearts as we listen to For This We Stand, performed by Terry and Daniel Sandoval.
This we stand, all peoples of the earth, in spirit as in law, across the sacred land, all worth and dignity bestowed to each as right of birth, our lives in interdependence, for this we stand.
For this we stand, one human family, evolving tapestries, but of a single strand of earth and wrought upon this harvest of diversity. One flame of life bright within us, for this we stand. For this we stand, mysterious unity, integrity as from the single artist's hand, our humble step informed by wisdom of the centuries, our every breath gift of spirit, for this we stand, our every breath gift of spirit, for this we stand.
I invite you to center yourselves, take a deep breath, put your feet on the floor or in whatever position you hold your body for this time of prayer and meditation. Spirit of love and life, here in the season at the very end, it seems, of our winter times, may we feel the warmth and the possibilities of what is to come. May we also know the grief of those in our community who are dealing with illnesses and setbacks, with losses in our families. May we remember that a part of why we become part of such a place, such a religion, is to remember, oh Spirit of love and life, that we are the ones who make that love real by our actions, by the prayers of our hands and our words, by our presence with one another. Spirit of love and life, let us also reflect on the ways in which there are still people stressed and worried all around us in society during these times of hardship, closed down businesses, and the turmoil of being in school or not. May we remember, in the bright sunny days of our lives, to warm others, to be those who are strength to others. And in those times in which we are in the darkest valleys, may we remember we are part of a community. We too are held. Blessed be. Amen. Let us take a moment in the silence to meditate on these things. Our reading this morning are from the words of the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker, former president of the Star King School for the Ministry. Let us covenant with one another to keep faith with the source of life, knowing that we are not our own. Earth made us. Let us covenant with one another to keep faith with the community of resistance, never to forget that life can be saved from that which threatens it by even small bands of people choosing to put into practice an alternative way of life. And let us covenant with one another to seek for an ever deeper awareness of that which springs up inwardly in us, even when our hearts are broken by our own failure or the failures of others cutting into our lives. Even when we have done all we can and life is still broken, there is a universal love that has never broken faith with us and never will. This is the ground of our hope and the reason we can be bold in seeking to fulfill the promise. Welcome to this service and this sermon. The sermon this morning is entitled A Year of Commitment. In part, I thought of this for two reasons. One, a year ago right now, I had snuck into Transylvania County to meet in private with this search team. 1 year ago, just about right now. We were doing our best to follow all the guidelines of using hand sanitizer and bumping elbows or sneezing or coughing into our elbows because, so far as we knew, that's all we had to do for staying safe from whatever germ might be out there. Within a week, everything had changed. Do you remember back when Reverend Sally Beth Shore started doing a informal ministers' services, sitting and leading this congregation in spiritual grounding on Sunday mornings over the various internet connections? Maybe at first only Facebook, but we know people who aren't on Facebook, me included, Now I hear that we have people who are committed to being with us on a Sunday morning who like Vimeo better or YouTube. And people made the commitment, this year of commitment. We didn't know it was going to be the whole year. We didn't know. Sometimes I think that when we enter into a commitment, we are in fact never quite sure what we're agreeing to, in what circumstance we may be held to our commitments. The reading by the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker has a line in it that I didn't read that says, "The reason we can be bold in seeking to fulfill the promise is because there is a universal love that has never broken faith with us and never will." It's amazing what religion and a spiritual commitment to one another can do to help us get through things together. And so in some ways, this could be a historical sermon, a year of commitment, going from bumping elbows to where we are now with masks and immunizations and deep hopes that we can gather again. We made a promise. We made a promise that we would follow UUA guidance and the CDC, and that we would in May, by the end of May, reevaluate whether we can in some way, hybrid, in small numbers, in some way, be back together again. It seems as if now we need to be a people of commitment, a year of commitment into reopening, blossoming, bringing ourselves open to the sunshine or the rainforest in a way that is nourishing us. And so, rather than speak of the past, I would like to turn that direction. A year of commitment. Because as we look ahead, as individuals, we make choices and promises, and then we live into them. The questions that go with the packet this month include two. If someone secretly monitored your life for a month, what would they conclude is your most sacred vow? And the other question, we're all part of a community. And that has the ability to help us sustain one another. So with that in mind, has anyone ever asked you to hold them accountable to their commitments? The board and I did a little bit of visioning, along with a couple of key leaders from council and a couple of the ministry teams. We spent the late part of Saturday morning with leaders from the Southern Regional District of the Unitarian Universalist Association. We were on Zoom, not in person, as we're doing everything, but we connected. The Southern Regional staff who helped us, Lillian and Nathan, reminded us of the words that are on the page in this congregation, our mission statement, which we have read each week at the beginning of the service. Something of our vision that's there, the vision of the plan for this place. Those words were brought back to us. It's good to have someone out there saying, hey, these are the words that you said, these are, in essence, your covenant, your promise, your vision, your star to guide from. How you doing with it? And indeed, we began to answer. We began to think about how are we living into that, our strategies for the future. But individually, I find we need that too. As a minister, if I say out loud, we're going to do something, and then I'm taking no steps to do that at all, it's a good idea to come up to me and tug my sleeve and say, Reverend Bob, you had a goal, you had a vision. I'm not seeing it. Are you still okay with it? Have you changed your mind? Is there something in the way of your commitment? And I get to say, I'm just as committed. Let me move my priorities. We have to do that with one another. That's one reason why it's a challenge as Unitarian Universalists, who are often described among clergy, lay leadership, and people outside our organization, that it's guiding Unitarian Universalists is like herding cats. There's a whole lot of strong personality and individuality among us. But we come together in order to help ourselves along with our commitments. Think of it. The parents among us, like Christy and I, who made sure that our children received the chance for religious exploration, things that we couldn't just do alone. Yeah, even me, as a fully trained minister. It needs the variety of perspectives of life and commitments to social action and ideas and ideals shared that help our children grow. And they do. And then it takes each of us, once we're in the room, parent thinking we're only here for the kids, but then realizing, wow, that's right. I aspire to these things. I commit myself to making the world a better place, or this one project, or delivering the cupcakes to Michael at Bread of Life, or whatever it may be that we're doing that's a joint project. The energy shared, the burden lighter, the joy increased and celebrated as each one of us says, yes, you go, you got it. The commitments we have are something that we hope are worthy. Henry Nelson Wyman, who was quoted in the curriculum that we used for the just ended Building Your Own Theology classes, said this: inevitably, in our lives, we commit ourselves to something, whether worthy or not. The direction and intensity of our loyalties give shape and meaning to our lives. Loyalties, commitments, covenants, the promises we make to one another, these are the things that tell us to what we belong. By doing so, they tell us who we are. Think of that. Think of that. That whether it's worthy or not, we have committed ourselves to things. And the way in which we monitor our lives might tell us something of those commitments. If we were like lawyers to plot every 15 minutes to see what's billable to what, which commitments, worthy or unworthy, take up our time? which loyalties show up in our contact lists, which commitments and covenants end up being the ways in which we check in with someone important to us, our best friend, our partner in life, our parent, our children, someone with whom we have this covenant and connection. We make promises. If they're on our to-do list, have we glanced at that lately? That's what I'm thinking when I read Henry Nelson Wyman. These are the things that tell us to what we belong, and by doing so, they tell us who we are. That's an intense religious piece of wisdom. To whom and to what do we belong? Who is our neighbor, for example, in the idea that we are to love our neighbor as we would ourselves, or to love God and our neighbor? To whom or what do we have that commitment? We must help one another. Let me show you the word cloud that we came up with. We'll insert the image as I talk. Right at the center of it, when you see it, this word cloud developed by the leadership and I and the Southern Region UUA helpers in our journey, have at the very center, in larger letters, love. Why? Because we do, in what we write about ourselves, in what we imagine and envision about this collection of Unitarian Universalists of Transylvania County, this congregation, love. Love is at the center. Surrounded by compassion, acceptance, kindness, support, and branching out in the ways we do that with our commitments to diversity and our passion and working for justice, our courage, our empathy, our generosity, and our reaching out to care for one another. Our generousness, our outreach, our humanity, and our growth. Spreading out all these words, I suspect that if we did the same exercise with the whole congregation, that we would have even more emphasis on many of these same words. I notice that a couple are so close to one another that if the computer that created this cloud had realized that the anti-racism work and our social action increased each other because they were repeating some of the same things, or our humanity or our humanism, that too, maybe they would have doubled up in size and recognition. We must have solidarity. Again, herding cats, that's really hard. But as minister, I ask you, please, for solidarity. Bell Hooks said, solidarity is not the same as support. In this year of commitment, as Bell Hooks says, to experience solidarity, we must have a community of interests, just like that word cloud. Shared beliefs and goals around which to unite, to build sisterhood. Support can be occasional. It can be given and just as easily withdrawn. Solidarity requires sustained, ongoing commitment. That was Howard Thurman from the Inward Journey. And it makes, no, excuse me, that was Bell Hooks. I'll next go to Howard Thurman. But it makes me think. It makes me realize we have done this. You're here. You're here watching this Sunday service. You are still committed or leaning into this community to be part of the commitment. Let us not just support one another. Let us be in solidarity with one another as we pull out of COVID together, as we find ways of, in hybrid ways, or finally being able to be together. We recreate our community and ascribe to all those values and words, all that we've committed to, in solidarity. We won't be the same. I guarantee you, we are not the same as that first Sunday a year ago, March 2020, when the congregation went online rather than in person. We are not the same. With the deaths that we have experienced over this time period, the people that we miss. And we are not the same because there are people on the screen right now that I'm pretending to see. Hi. Those of you who have only known us this way, over the internet. From Howard Thurman. I ask us, despite the dullness and barrenness of the days that pass, if I search with due diligence, I can always find a deposit left by some former radiance. But had I forgotten? Yes, I had forgotten. At the time it was full-orbed, glorious, and resplendent. I was sure that I would never forget. In the moment of its fullness, I was sure that it would illuminate my path for all the rest of my journey. I had forgotten how easy it is, though, to forget. There was no intent to betray what seemed so sure at the time. My response was whole, clean, authentic. But little by little, there crept into my life the dust and the grit of the journey. Details, lower level demands, all kinds of cross currents. Nothing momentous, nothing overwhelming, nothing flagrant, just wear and tear. If there had been some direct challenge, a clear-cut issue, I would have fought to the end and beyond. In the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of God, my heart whispers, Thurman says, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in fair weather or foul, in good times or in tempests, in the days when the darkness and the foe are nameless or familiar, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. This is for our year of commitment. This is for what I was talking about, how we are not the same. We have forgotten some of what it was to be together and committed and seeing that lovely full orb, being and living the experience. We, however, will get to a place that reminds us, even if it is not the same, even with people who are gone, who are our teachers and mentors before, and people who are arriving, who are new to us. We together will keep fresh before us our moments of high resolve. We will. I will. Call me on it if I'm not. And maybe I will help nurture you back into that space, that tangible place. Here we are again. Not just here I am again in this room. with Frank and Catherine backing up the technology. Here we are. May we answer those questions again and again, remembering ourselves that we make choices and promises and live into them. Watching ourselves, if someone monitors us for a month, where would we have been putting down our 15-minute increments, our checkoffs of our to-do lists, not the general get groceries, but the I committed to this part? Where are we on that question of the community? Did anyone ask us before to help them remember their commitments and not forget? Where are we? We have a year ahead of us, a year of commitment to make it real and right, to bring to life every word from our lips, our promises, our vows, our covenants. We have made it thus far, and we are going to spring into our future, not just supporting one another, not just now and then, but solidarity in this year of commitment. Blessed be. Thank you for listening to these words. At this time in the service, I bring back into appearance the hand-woven basket from this community for this community to remind us that every week we have the various commitments of the month to lend to. We have the wonderful support of this community. And for those of you members and friends, or those who wish to be a member or friend, the pledge drive going on now, the ways in which we can return our pledges. The generosity of this place is amazing. I love it. And it helps us do what we need to do. Thank you for remembering the moment in your life in which your commitment to generosity shows up. Check the box. Let your heart feel the warmth. And what you give with love, we receive with great joy, and we say thank you. In this spirit of this year of commitment in our community of solidarity, with all that we aspire to in making a difference to each other and the world, I invite you to sing with me hymn number 121, We'll Build a Land. The words will be on your screen.
Bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born.
Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land, building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come, build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come, build a land, my people we seek. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
Thank you so much for all that you do in your lives, for following and remembering your commitments. Thank you for being out there even when we cannot see each other in person, unless we show up on a Tuesday with a picnic lunch, fellowship on the green. Thank you for inviting me to porch visits. It's getting warmer. I don't have to look all bundled up. Thank you. Thank you for the year of commitment you have given to this place, even as we are distant for our safety. And thank you for where you will go. Blessings upon you as you go out into this world. May you find your way and your promises. May you remember who you are by what you have committed to. And may you help others reignite their memories for the commitments that they have made. And then come back again next week with love. Though we extinguish this chalice, the light doesn't go out, it goes with you. And though we extinguish the helper candle, we do not remove ourselves from the help that we have in this community, nor do we forget to be the helpers, for all of us need the helpers. Blessed be. Have a happy Sunday.